Hey everybody, this is Tracy here with another edition of A View from Tracy's Point, and we are here with our weekend review, and we're going to start with our sisters, Y'all All Right edition. This is where I cover trending topics dealing with women in the news. And most times it is celebrities, sometimes it is not. So, you guys know that I am a huge tennis fan, and I told you about 15-year-old CoCo Golf, who was the sensation that just like took over Wimbledon last week. But you know you're only as hot okay as long as you're winning. And so CoCo, beat Venus Williams in round one. Venus is her idol and she always dreamed of playing Venus, and so she played Venus on the biggest stage in tennis, which is Wimbledon, and she defeated her. So in the third round, her opponent was Paloma Hercog, and so CoCo, she lost the first set 6-3. She was down in the second set 3-5, I believe it was. She managed to fight back, take it to a tie break, and she won the tie break. I believe it was like 8-6 or something like that. And then she went on to win the third set 7-5. So that moved her on to the fourth round where she met Simona Halep. And like I said, Simona is like maybe like number 7 in the world. I know she's in the top 10, and she has been number 1 in the world, and she's also won a couple of Grand Slams. So CoCo did a phenomenal job. All these celebrities were tweeting out to her words of encouragement. She got tweets from Samuel Jackson, Jaden Smith, several professional basketball players, and even First Lady Michelle Obama tweeted out to her. But then what I noticed is that after she lost to Simona Halep, then all the attention was off of her, and I didn't really see any celebrities like tweeting her in words of encouragement on how not to get lost in the defeat, but to hold your head up high and continue on because there's greater things happening. And that's not to say that it didn't happen, but to say that I didn't see it and it wasn't being promoted at the same way that it was being promoted in the first week. But just a very positive young lady. Her parents are amazing. And so her mom did an interview, and I thought it was interesting because her mom is a former track star, I believe it is, for Florida State University, and the dad is a former athlete. He attended Georgia, and so can't remember what he did as far as sports. But so her athleticism is genetic. She inherited it from her parents, and so her mom says that part of their success is that she had to make the decision, or they made the decision as a couple, to allow the father to be her coach and to be involved in the tennis aspect as far as training. And then she would be a mom. She would be the person that encourages her, that keeps her life balanced, that makes sure she's still getting her education even though she's playing tennis. And so I thought it was great that they were able to come to this consensus, and that each person knows their role as far as bringing the family unit together and supporting CoCo in her endeavors. And CoCo, I believe, has a great future with her, and she could possibly be the next Serena Williams, hopefully better in terms of attitude, but the next Serena, and I'll talk about that in a minute, why I made that comment. And so she has Roger Federer's agent, is her agent. Serena Williams' coach, Patrick, is CoCo's coach, and she actually trains at Patrick's Academy in France. And so she has all the right people behind her. I'm sure Venus and Serena are going to be huge supporters and help guide her, through this and to keep her humble. And that was just one of the things that everybody fell in love with CoCo about, is that she was so humble and just had such a sincere spirit. Like she was, when she was talking about the people that were tweeting her, she was like a, 15-year-old that was all giddy and excited and, was like, oh my God, like these people know my name. They know who I am.
Y'all, Jaden just tweeted me. Oh my gosh. Oh. Jaden just tweeted me. Bro, this is crazy. He said at CoCo Golf, you're the one. Oh, he liked my picture back maybe a year ago, and now he tweeted. Wait, hold up. Look. I already got the merch. You know what I'm saying? I got the merch. You see? Misfits rep all the way. I wish I would have bought more of my hoodies. I own about 8 hoodies of his. Like, if you a real one, you know. If you've been here, you know.
And then she's talked about, being up 11 o'clock at night and having to do an exam. And so, she's getting her education. And I know back in the 70s and 80s and even the 90s, and probably to this day, a lot of tennis players never complete high school, and that's what led to some of the changes in professional tennis, because people were basically becoming professional players like when they were 14 and 15 years old, but they weren't getting an education. They were high school dropouts, and then when tennis was over with, they were just lost in the world. And so it's just good to see, in these days and times, tennis players who are actually, completing high school, they're going to college, they're getting that college experience, and then after they leave college, then they enter the pros full time. And so I think that that's really good. I'm looking forward to seeing CoCo. Not sure if she'll be able to play in the U.S. Open Series, which is a set of tournaments leading up to the actual U.S. Open, because they only allow so many people in, and her ranking just isn't that high. But she will be playing in the U.S. Open, and I will be supporting her. So now we move on to Miss Serena Williams. And y'all know I love Venus and Serena. Would be a fan to the end of time, but I have no problem calling people out when they're wrong, okay? And so I have a video. I'm going to drop the link in this video so that you guys, if you want to go check it out, but I actually talk about Serena and her big, mental breakdown and blow up at the U.S. Open last year when she was playing in the finals against Naomi Osaka. And so I was one of the people that felt that Serena was dead wrong, and I explained in that video why I felt she was dead wrong. So Serena, during the not even the off season, but Serena doesn't play that many tournaments. She plays in the Grand Slams, and she may play in 1 or 2 tournaments leading up to the Grand Slam. So following the U.S. Open, it was obvious that Serena hired a crisis management person, and she got her PR people. So they were trying to rebuild her image. And all along, people like myself were saying, Serena, if you would just apologize to the girl, if you would just accept that you were wrong and apologize to the girl, you can move on from this. But instead, they went on this media blitz. They were getting her all these photo shoots. They were lobbying for her to get these awards and acknowledgments. And so over the course of Wimbledon, I have kept saying, like, Serena, her crisis management person has done a great job because her attitude is totally different. She's very upbeat and happy, and you can just see a huge change in her. And so there was a lot going on about her playing mixed doubles with Andy Murray, and so it's like a lot of speculation. People were saying, he should play with Venus. Why is he, playing with Serena? And so it's like all this hype. Will she or won't she? Are they going to team up? And so eventually they did team up, and so it's all part of this rebuilding Serena's image is what's going on. And so yesterday, Harpers Bazaar came out with these stories like all over the media. And, once again, I direct you guys back to Trust Me, I'm Lying, that video I did about that book. And it shows you how this engine runs. When you need a celebrity to look positive in the media, who do you contact? How do you contact the people to get them out there? If you want to tear somebody's image down, how they do it, how they manipulate the blogs. So anyway, Harper's Bazaar did an interview with Serena. So yesterday, yesterday and the day before, there's been this huge push to get this article out to all of the media outlets. And so what this is about is that, number one, it looks like Serena may get number 24. She's trying to tie Margaret Court's record, who has the most Grand Slam titles. And then she'll go on to try and get number 25, which would break Margaret Court's record and make her the all-time leader in Grand Slam titles. So one, they're trying to, so the hype has fallen off of CoCo Gauff now that she's out of the tournament. So now they can focus on Serena and try and like boost her up, get her image up. So not only is it to get us hyped up and excited that she may get number 24, but it's also to prepare us as we move towards the U.S. Open, so that people will kind of forget about, what happened last year and be back in her favor, be back on her side. And, I can love you. I love Serena. I'm going to root for Serena no matter what, but I can also call BS. And so in this Harper's Bazaar article, she talks about what happened at the U.S. Open and the fact that she, was like all out of sorts after that happened. She didn't know what to do. People were turning against her. She didn't understand, why the fans were coming after her. And so she ended up going into therapy. And so as part of her therapy, the therapist helped her understand that she needed to make amends with Naomi Osaka. Now, for those of you who don't follow tennis and don't know about Naomi Osaka is a Haitian, and her dad is Haitian, her mom is Japanese. She's lived in the United States since she was about 3 years old. I think she used to live in New York, and then they moved to Florida, which most people, once they decide they're going to be a professional tennis player, they end up coming to Florida because we have the best tennis facilities. And so she's lived here in the U.S. all of, better part of her life, but she is represented by Japan because the U.S., I guess they didn't believe enough in her talents to provide her with the financial backing that she needed. And it's the same thing with CoCo Gauff, because CoCo Gauff is actually training, like I said, in France at Patrick's Academy, and they're the ones that gave her family the money to actually support her tennis career to get her to where she is now. And so Japan offered Naomi the money that she needed to build her career, and that is why she represents Japan, but she's actually Haitian and Japanese. So anyway, this little young girl, like CoCo Gauff idolizes Venus and Serena, Naomi also idolized them, and one of her biggest dreams was that she would one day play Serena Williams. She would play her at the U.S. Open, and she would beat her at the U.S. Open and win the title. So this was this little girl's dream her entire life, and she finally had the opportunity, and then things just went awry when Serena got into it with the chair umpire, and it really tarnished the girl's victory. Like, she didn't get to celebrate her victory the way that she wanted to. And then ever since then, she's won. So she won the US Open, she won the Australian Open, and now she's kind of just like tumbling down because she talks about sometimes dealing with depression, how overwhelmed she is, with being in the spotlight. She made it to number one in the world, and she said it was just too much, and you could just see her like mentally breaking down because she's just overwhelmed by the success she's received and how fast she has received this success. And so unlike CoCo, I think CoCo's parents have built a firm foundation for her, whereas Naomi may not have had that. So in this Harper's Bazaar interview, Serena shares that she texts Naomi and apologized to her. So I'm going to read the apology to you guys. So the text says, "Hi Naomi, it's Serena Williams. As I said on the court, I am so proud of you and I am truly sorry. I thought I was doing the right thing in sticking up for myself, but I had no idea the media would pit us against each other. I would love the chance to live that moment over again. I am, was, will always be happy for you and supportive of you. I would never ever want the light to shine away from another female, specifically another black female athlete. I can't wait for your future, and believe me, I will always be watching as a big fan. I wish you only success today and in the future. Once again, I am so proud of you. All my love, and your fan, Serena." Now, people were giving Serena huge kudos for this apology and thinking, oh, it shows she's the bigger person. She has learned from this mistake. But when I'm reading this apology, I see someone who is on a publicity, who's trying to get favorable publicity back in their corner. And so I was thinking, like, man, if that had been me and I had to make this apology to this girl, I wouldn't have brought in the media. I wouldn't have made the apology about myself. I just would have said, after careful reflection upon what happened that night, I realized that I was wrong, okay, that I was unprofessional, and I took the moment away from you, and I sincerely, and I can't give you that moment back, but I can sincerely apologize for ruining your special moment, or something along that lines. But, she lost it when she threw in the media and saying that the media is trying to pit us against each other, so I'm going to reach out and apologize. So are you apologizing because you don't like how the media handled the situation, or are you apologizing because you are sincerely apologetic and you are acknowledging that you were wrong in the situation? Because those are two different things. So Naomi texted back to Serena and said, people can misunderstand anger for strength because they can't differentiate between the two. No one has stood up for themselves the way you have, and you need to continue trailblazing. Now, when I read that statement, I don't see Naomi being appreciative of that apology. I will read that first line again. People can misunderstand anger for strength because they can't differentiate between the two. So to me, she's saying that Serena was angry and that she's trying to put it off as she was being a strong black woman, but it wasn't the case, and that Serena needs to learn to differentiate between the two. So what do you guys think about that apology that Serena made, and what do you think about Naomi's response to that apology? And more important, how do you feel about Serena making this whole apology and response public in this article? I think it's inappropriate because she could have said, we talked behind the scenes and everything is cool. She did not have to put her apology out, and she did not have to put Naomi's response out. But I am still rooting for Serena to win her 24th Grand Slam at Wimbledon. Fingers crossed. Her semifinal match is on Thursday, and she will be playing, I think she's playing Svitolina, some player that y'all probably never heard of before if you don't follow tennis. But since Serena, we're still rooting for you, girl. Leave your comments below, rate the video, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And until the next time, I shall talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.